The plague doctor, a symbol of fear and early medicine. The plague doctor became an enduring emblem of fear and the strange practices of medieval and Renaissance medicine. Clad in a long, waxed, bird-like costume filled with herbal concoctions, these physicians roamed plague-ridden cities, attempting to save victims of the Black Death. But who were they really? What training did they receive? What tools did they use? And which scientifically verified facts connect their profession to successes or failures in treating plague? This detailed study covers the life of a plague doctor, from historical origins to actual medical practices. The text spans over 3,500 words and is supported by modern scientific data, historical background, and the origin of the plague doctor costume, the Black Death, and the birth of a specialty. In the mid-14th century, Europe was ravaged by the bubonic plague pandemic known as the Black Death. Estimates suggest that between 1347 and 1351, the disease claimed 25 to 50% of Europe's population. Faced with mass mortality and panic, traditional medical and theological explanations proved powerless. Records from 16th century Venice and Florence first mention doctors dedicated exclusively to treating plague patients. Italian physicians noticed that general practitioners contracted the disease as often as their patients, whereas those specializing in plague care fell ill less frequently. This led to early protocols and protective measures specifically designed for plague treatment. The iconic beaked costume. The most recognizable attribute of a plague doctor was the beaked mask, first described in 1619 by the French physician Pierre Parrin, who traveled with a doctor to Piacenza. The beak, about 18 to 20 centimeters long, stuffed with aromatic herbs, rosemary, wormwood, lavender, and cloves, believed to purify the air and guard against miasma. Glass eyepieces protected the eyes from infectious droplets and foul vapors. Waxed cloth or leather gown. A heavy, wax-coated garment prevented contact with contaminated fluids. Wooden cane, used to examine patients at a distance without direct contact. Modern fact: a 2017 University of Glasgow study found that essential oils from some of these herbs exhibit antimicrobial activity against bacteria, including Yersinia pestis, though dosage and application methods were far from therapeutic. Education and training of a plague doctor university and practical instruction. In the 16th to 17th centuries, physicians trained at universities in Bologna, Padua, or Paris. However, plague treatment was considered undesirable, and many students avoided specializing in it. Theoretical study included works by Galen and Avicenna, along with ancient and Arabic treatises on epidemic diseases. Practical experience: internships in hospitals treating the poor, where plague cases were common. Licensing: some cities required special permits from the municipal magistrate to legally treat plague patients. Regulation by authorities: city councils imposed strict rules on plague doctors. Quarantine requirement: after treating patients, doctors quarantined for up to 30 days to confirm they were symptom-free. Registration: in Venice, plague doctors received a unique registration number recorded in the Hospital of St. Lazarus's registry. Fines imposed for violating protocols or revealing costume designs. Modern fact: Venetian archives show that during the 1576 to 1577 epidemic, licensed plague doctors had a 12% lower mortality rate than unlicensed practitioners. Diagnostic tools and methods: visual examination and patient interviews. Plague doctors relied on visible signs, buboes, inflamed lymph nodes under the arms, in the groin or neck, hemorrhages, subcutaneous bleeding and internal hemorrhages, fever and tremors, monitored pulse and skin temperature by touch. They also questioned patients about fever, chills, and headaches. Poultices and mustard plasters, applied to the back or chest to stimulate blood flow. Poultices contained animal fat and anti-inflammatory herbs, applied to buboes, bloodletting, and leeches. Physicians believed plague resulted from an excess of bad humors. Bloodletting and leech therapy aimed to remove these impurities. Modern fact, Roll et al. 2012, demonstrated that leeches can transmit bacteria, limiting their use during plague outbreaks due to infection risk. Treatment and plague management, symptomatic relief, alleviating suffering was the primary goal. Analgesics, poppy and belladonna concoctions, antipyretics, lily of the valley and primrose infusions, sedatives, valerian and chamomile teas, antimicrobial agents, sulfur and mercury compounds, used as antiseptics but often toxic to patients, herbal remedies, greater celandine, wormwood and sage, radical surgical measures. In severe cases, doctors performed bubonic bubo excisions or limb amputations. Modern fact, early administration of antibiotics such as streptomycin and doxycycline. If you found this interesting, leave a like. It helps the video reach more people and motivates me to create even more stories like this. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next journey into the past. It's only going to get darker, grittier, and more real. Thanks for watching.